Law 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you. Power is not seized. It is cultivated. The strongest grip on control is not one of force, but of necessity. When people rely on you for their success, stability, and even survival, you become irreplaceable. The key to lasting influence is to weave a web of dependence so intricate that those around you cannot imagine functioning without you. The moment you allow yourself to become dispensable, your downfall begins. The art of becoming indispensable. Picture a king sitting on his golden throne, confident in his rule, yet blind to the strings that truly control the kingdom. Behind him stands an advisor, the quiet architect of every decision. The king rules, but it is the advisor who holds the true power, for he alone understands the intricacies of politics, the weaknesses of enemies, and the secrets of the court. Without him, the kingdom would crumble. The king knows this, and so, he clings to the advisor, not out of affection, but out of fear. This is the essence of power. Control is not about dominance, but necessity. If people need you, they will protect you, obey you, and even fear losing you. If they do not, they will replace you without hesitation. Why dependence equals power? A ruler who governs through strength may be overthrown. A leader who rules through necessity will never be challenged. Affection is fleeting, but necessity is eternal. A man may betray a friend, but he will never betray his lifeline. When people realize their survival hinges on you, they will go to great lengths to keep you close. Power is not about being wanted, it is about being needed. How to make yourself indispensable. 1. Master a skill no one else has. A person with rare knowledge is a person who cannot be replaced. A strategist with an unmatched understanding of war becomes essential to a ruler. A doctor who knows a secret cure is protected by kings and feared by rivals. A businessman who controls rare resources dictates the market. By cultivating a unique skill, you ensure that others will always turn to you, not because they wish to, but because they must. 2. Create a web of dependency. One person depending on you is good. Many people depending on you is unshakable power. A CEO ensures his company cannot run without his insight. A ruler manipulates his advisors so they rely on his approval. A teacher nurtures students in a way that no other mentor can. The more people who depend on you, the stronger your foundation becomes. A throne built on trust may falter, but a throne built on necessity will endure. 3. Never reveal everything you know. The moment you give away all your knowledge, you become replaceable. Always keep something back, a piece of wisdom that ensures your presence remains necessary. A military general keeps his best strategies to himself. A business magnate does not share the full workings of his empire. A scientist releases discoveries slowly, ensuring his relevance. If they learn all that you know, they will no longer need you. 4. Make others feel in control while keeping them dependent. People resent feeling trapped. Let them believe they are making choices while subtly ensuring that all roads lead back to you. A ruler lets his ministers feel powerful but ensures they cannot function without him. A manager gives employees autonomy while keeping major decisions in his hands. A financial advisor ensures his clients always need his counsel. Freedom is an illusion when dependence is absolute. Historical masters of this law. Cardinal Richelieu, the cunning minister of France, made himself indispensable to King Louis XIII. The king ruled in name, but Richelieu ruled in truth. J. Edgar Hoover, director of the FBI, collected secrets on powerful figures. Presidents feared removing him, for they knew he held the power to ruin them. Otto von Bismarck, the architect of German unification, ensured that even the Kaiser depended on his political mastery. When Bismarck was dismissed, the empire weakened. These men understood the secret to power: make yourself necessary, and no one will dare cast you aside. The consequences of ignoring this law. History is filled with those who lost power because they made themselves replaceable. A trusted advisor who teaches his king too well is dismissed. A leader who empowers his subordinates without ensuring their loyalty is soon abandoned. A business tycoon who trains others too thoroughly finds himself pushed aside. The moment people realize they do not need you, you become disposable. How to use this law to your advantage: keep secrets, knowledge is power. Never give away your full arsenal. Encourage dependence. Let people believe they are free while ensuring they cannot function without you. Create long-term necessity. If losing you means failure, you will never be discarded. Power does not belong to those who are strongest or smartest. It belongs to those who are needed. Final thought: power comes from being irreplaceable. A wise leader does not demand loyalty. He makes it impossible to live without him. The moment you allow yourself to be replaced, your power is lost. But if you master the art of necessity, you will never be abandoned, never be betrayed, and never fall from power. True control is not taken. It is woven into the fabric of dependency. Law 12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. Power is often gained not through brute force but through subtle manipulation. People are naturally suspicious of those in power, always looking for hidden motives. However, when you present an act of honesty or generosity, their guard drops. They begin to trust you, seeing you as different from the rest. This is the key to disarming your enemies and gaining influence over them. Give them a small piece of truth, a minor gift, and they will open the doors for you to take much more. The illusion of trust: imagine a wealthy merchant who walks into a new city, seeking to establish himself. The locals, wary of outsiders, hesitate to do business with him. Instead of forcing his way in, he takes a different approach. He donates a large sum to the local temple, feeds the poor, and speaks humbly about his intentions. The people begin to trust him, believing that a man so generous must be good-hearted. Slowly, he gains favor, and before long, he is not just a merchant in the city, he controls the city's trade. This is the power of selective honesty and generosity. A single act of kindness can overshadow 100 hidden ambitions. When people believe they are dealing with an honest, giving person, they lower their defenses. They become blind to the larger game being played. Why this law works: people crave honesty, especially in a world full of deception. They are quick to believe someone who appears open and giving because it feels rare and refreshing. A small act of generosity makes people feel obligated to return the favor. This is human nature. When someone gives to us, we feel the need to give back. This instinct can be used to manipulate even the most powerful individuals. How to apply this law: 1. Use small acts of honesty to build trust. The best lies are hidden between truths. By occasionally revealing minor, harmless truths, you create the illusion that you are always honest. A businessman might admit to a small mistake to appear transparent, making his clients believe he has nothing to hide. A politician might confess to a minor flaw, making the public trust him more. The moment people believe in your honesty, they stop questioning your real intentions. 2. Give generously, but with purpose. True power comes from generosity that serves a purpose. A king who pardons a minor criminal appears merciful, winning the love of his people. A businessman who gives small discounts makes customers feel valued while ensuring they remain loyal. A general who spares captured enemies gains their respect and turns them into allies. Never give without strategy. Every act of generosity should be an investment in future control. 3. Make people feel secure. People fear what they do not understand. When you give a gift, whether in the form of honesty, kindness, or generosity, you make people feel safe around you. Once they feel safe, they become vulnerable to your influence. A con artist first wins his victim's trust before making his move. A leader first assures his people before making drastic changes. When people feel at ease, they stop being cautious. That is when you take control. Historical masters of this law: Julius Caesar, the Roman general, often pardoned his defeated enemies, making them loyal to him. He understood that a single act of mercy could turn an enemy into an ally. John D. Rockefeller, the oil tycoon, donated millions to charity, shaping his image as a generous man, while quietly expanding his empire. Al Capone, the infamous gangster, gave generously to the poor, earning their loyalty and protection. These men did not give out of kindness, they gave to control. The consequences of ignoring this law: many powerful figures have fallen because they underestimated the value of disarming others with kindness. A leader who rules only through fear creates many enemies, and eventually, they unite against him. A businessman who never gives back is resented by his workers and clients. A ruler who never shows mercy will one day find himself without allies. If you rely only on force, people will always look for a way to remove you. How to use this law to your advantage: give only what is necessary. Never be generous without strategy. Be honest, but only about things that do not harm your position. Make people feel safe, and they will lower their guard. The true power of generosity is not in what is given, but in what is received in return. Final thought: generosity is a tool, not a virtue. Power is about control, and control is best gained through trust. Selective honesty and generosity are the sharpest weapons in a strategist's arsenal. Use them wisely, and the world will willingly place itself in your hands. Law 13. When asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy. People like to believe they are kind and generous, but deep down, everyone acts out of self-interest. When you need something from someone, never rely on their compassion or sense of duty. These are weak motivators. Instead, show them how helping you benefits them. When people see personal gain, they will not only help you but will do so eagerly. The failure of begging for mercy: there was once a struggling merchant who needed a loan to save his business. He went to a wealthy man and pleaded for help. "Please, sir," he begged, "I have always admired you. You are a man of honor and generosity. If you could lend me some money, I would be forever grateful." The wealthy man sighed and shook his head. "I sympathize with your situation," he said, "but times are tough for everyone. I cannot help you." The merchant left empty-handed, his business doomed. The merchant made a fatal mistake. He appealed to the rich man's kindness rather than his self-interest. The wealthy man had no reason to help. Gratitude means little in the world of power, but opportunities mean everything. Had the merchant taken a different approach, he might have succeeded. The power of self-interest now: imagine another man in the same position, but with a different strategy. He approached the same wealthy man but spoke differently. "Sir," he said, "I have an idea that could increase your profits. If you lend me this money, I will invest it in a new trade route, and I will share the profits with you. This could make you even richer." The wealthy man, suddenly interested, leaned forward. "Tell me more," he said. By showing how both of them could benefit, the merchant got what he wanted. People rarely act out of pure kindness, but they will move mountains for personal gain. The key to getting help is making others see how it serves their interests. Why this law works: people are naturally selfish. They may help others occasionally, but when it comes to significant favors, they hesitate unless they see value in it. History is filled with kings who refused to aid their neighbors unless they gained land or wealth in return. Even in friendships, people gravitate toward those who bring value to their lives. When you appeal to mercy, you make the other person feel burdened, as if they are doing you a favor. But when you show them how helping you benefits them, they feel smart, like they are making a wise investment. This shifts the dynamic. Now they want to help, rather than feeling forced to do so. How to apply this law: 1. Find out what they want. Before asking for help, understand the other person's desires. Do they want power, wealth, influence, or prestige? Once you know this, frame your request as something that helps them get closer to their goal. 2. Show the benefits clearly. Do not assume they will figure out the benefits on their own. Spell it out. If you need funding,
Explain how their investment will grow. If you need an introduction, show how it will expand their network. Make the rewards clear and immediate.
3. Make it feel like their idea. People are more committed to something when they believe it was their own choice. Present your request in a way that allows them to see it as an opportunity rather than a favor. Historical masters of this law. Julius Caesar knew how to win the support of his men by offering them wealth and glory. He did not ask for their loyalty out of duty, he promised them rewards for their service.
Benjamin Franklin once needed to win over a political rival. Instead of flattering him, Franklin asked to borrow a rare book. The rival, flattered by the request, lent the book, and soon, a friendship formed. Franklin understood that people want to feel important. The Medici family in Renaissance Italy maintained power by funding artists and scholars. They were not being charitable. They knew this patronage would bring them prestige and influence. The consequences of ignoring this law: many people fail in their requests because they appeal to emotions rather than logic. A worker who asks for a raise because he works hard is likely to be ignored. But a worker who shows how his contributions increase the company's profits has a much better chance. Politicians who beg for votes out of loyalty often lose. But those who promise jobs, security, and economic benefits succeed. The world operates on self-interest. If you do not understand this, you will struggle to gain power. How to use this law to your advantage? Before making any request, ask yourself, what does this person gain from helping me? If the answer is unclear, rethink your approach. Make sure they see the opportunity, not the burden. Final thought: the art of persuasion is the art of self-interest. If you want something from someone, never make them feel like they are doing you a favor. Make them feel like they are making a smart choice for themselves. Once they see the benefit, they will not just help you, they will do so eagerly. Law 14, pose as a friend, work as a spy. Knowledge is power, and the most valuable knowledge is often hidden behind smiles, handshakes, and casual conversations. Those who control information control the game. To stay ahead, you must know what others are thinking, planning, and hiding. But people guard their secrets carefully, unless they believe they are sharing them with a friend. The key to gaining intelligence is to disguise yourself as an ally while subtly extracting the information you need. The illusion of friendship. There was once a young courtier who wanted to rise in the king's favor. However, the court was full of ambitious nobles, each vying for power. The courtier knew that direct confrontation would lead to ruin. Instead, he befriended the most powerful lords, acting as a loyal confidant. He listened to their complaints, shared their laughter, and earned their trust. Over time, they let the guard down, revealing their ambitions, alliances, and weaknesses. Armed with this knowledge, the courtier maneuvered himself into the king's inner circle, neutralizing his rivals before they even knew he was a threat. This is the essence of espionage: gathering intelligence without revealing your true intentions. People willingly share their deepest thoughts when they believe they are speaking to a friend. But a true strategist knows that every conversation is an opportunity to learn, and every friendship is a doorway to valuable information. The power of gathering intelligence. The most successful leaders, generals, and businessmen throughout history have used spying to their advantage. Napoleon would charm his subordinates, making them believe he valued their opinions. In return, they spoke freely, revealing the political undercurrents of his empire. Corporate executives send friendly recruiters to rival companies, pretending to offer jobs while extracting valuable business strategies. Even in everyday life, those who listen carefully while saying little often hold the most power. Why this law works: people are naturally eager to talk about themselves. They love to share their thoughts, complaints, and ambitions, especially when they feel safe. A person who asks the right questions, listens attentively, and appears trustworthy can learn everything without ever revealing their own position. Meanwhile, those who speak too much expose themselves and become vulnerable. A spy does not need to wear disguises or carry hidden devices. The best spies are friendly, charming, and seemingly harmless. They encourage others to talk while keeping their own thoughts hidden. By the time their targets realize they have been exposed, it is too late. How to apply this law? 1. Ask, listen, and observe. Instead of dominating conversations, let others do the talking. Ask subtle questions, encourage him to elaborate, and take note of their words, tone, and expressions. The more they talk, the more you learn. 2. Mirror their emotions. People trust those who seem to share their thoughts and feelings. By mirroring their concerns, frustrations, or ambitions, you make them believe you are on their side. This lowers their defenses and encourages them to speak freely. 3. Never reveal too much about yourself. The best spies appear open but give away little. If someone asks about your plans or thoughts, respond vaguely or shift the conversation back to them. Maintain the illusion of friendship without exposing your true intentions. 4. Use indirect spies. If you cannot gather information yourself, use others. A well-placed friend, colleague, or ally can serve as your eyes and ears, bringing back valuable intelligence while you remain unnoticed. Historical masters of this law, Cardinal Richelieu, the powerful advisor to the French king, had an extensive network of informants. He used spies disguised as servants, clerks, and even lovers to gather intelligence on his enemies. Machiavelli understood that rulers who relied only on force would eventually fall. He advised leaders to befriend their enemies, gain their trust, and gather information before striking. Julius Caesar won over his political opponents not through force, but through friendship. He made him feel valued, listened to their ambitions, and learned their weaknesses, then used that knowledge to eliminate them. The consequences of ignoring this law: those who fail to gather intelligence are always at a disadvantage. They walk into situations blind, unaware of hidden threats or opportunities. Many have fallen because they trusted too easily or spoke too freely. Businessmen who reveal their plans too soon find themselves outmaneuvered. Politicians who underestimate their rivals are overthrown. Even in personal relationships, those who do not listen miss the subtle signals that reveal true intentions. On the other hand, those who master this law never find themselves caught off guard. They always know who to trust, who to avoid, and when to strike. How to use this law to your advantage before making any move, whether in business, politics, or personal life. Gather as much information as possible. Learn people's motives, fears, and ambitions. Be the person everyone trusts, but trust no one completely. When you control knowledge, you control the game. Final thought: information is the ultimate weapon. The most dangerous opponent is the one who knows everything about you while you know nothing about them. In a world driven by power and strategy, information is the sharpest weapon. To survive and thrive, pose as a friend, but always think like a spy. Law 15. Crush your enemy totally. Power is not secured through half measures. When you leave an enemy wounded but alive, they will return stronger, fueled by revenge and resentment. History has shown time and again that mercy towards a foe often leads to future destruction. True power demands total victory, leaving no room for retaliation, no chance for resurgence. When you decide to strike, ensure that your enemy has no path to recovery. The danger of half measures: a young king once defeated a rival warlord who had long threatened his throne. However, instead of eliminating him, he showed mercy. He allowed the warlord to live, granting him exile rather than death. Years passed, and the king grew comfortable, believing the threat had passed. But in the shadows, the warlord rebuilt his forces, gathered new allies, and struck back with vengeance. The war ended with the young king's head on a pike, his kindness repaid with betrayal. This story is not unique. It has played out in history repeatedly. Leaders who failed to finish their enemies suffered disastrous consequences. Those who leave room for forgiveness in matters of power often find themselves the victim of the very people they spared. Why you must crush completely enemies, when left alive, do not forget. They lick their wounds, bide their time, and return with renewed fury. They will wait for a moment of weakness, then strike with all their strength. By eliminating an enemy completely, you ensure they cannot regroup, plot revenge, or challenge you again. A crushed enemy serves as a warning to others. When people see that resistance leads to total destruction, they are less likely to challenge your authority. Fear is a powerful tool, and a decisive victory cements your position at the top. Historical lessons from this Lord Julius Caesar and the mistake of mercy. Julius Caesar defeated his rival Pompey and his supporters, but chose to show mercy to many of his enemies. He pardoned them, thinking his generosity would earn their loyalty. Instead, those same men conspired against him and orchestrated his assassination. Had Caesar eliminated all opposition, the infamous betrayal on the Ides of March would never have occurred. Genghis Khan and total domination. Genghis Khan, on the other hand, understood the necessity of absolute destruction. When a rival tribe refused to submit, he obliterated them entirely, men, women, and children. The result? Fear spread across the land, and many surrendered without a fight. His ruthlessness created an empire that lasted for generations. How to apply this law? 1. Strike decisively when you go against an enemy, whether in business, politics, or personal life. Make sure your victory is absolute. Do not let them recover, reorganize, or seek revenge. If you remove a rival from power, ensure they have no way to return. 2. Do not hesitate. Weakness invites challenge. If you show hesitation or allow an enemy to remain standing, they will see it as an opportunity to fight back. The moment you decide to act, commit fully. Half measures will only prolong the battle and increase the danger. 3. Use psychological warfare. Sometimes, destruction does not have to be physical. Ruining an enemy's reputation, cutting off their resources, or isolating them from allies can be just as effective as outright confrontation. Make sure they have no way back into the game. 4. Never let pity cloud your judgment. It is easy to feel sympathy for a defeated opponent, but in the world of power, mercy is often mistaken for weakness. If you cannot bring yourself to destroy an enemy completely, be prepared for them to return and destroy you instead. The consequences of ignoring this law. History is littered with the graves of those who failed to crush their enemies. Napoleon exiled his rival, King Louis XVIII. Instead of executing him, Louis returned to power, forcing Napoleon into a desperate comeback that ultimately ended in his downfall. Similarly, business tycoons who leave failing competitors in the market often see them rise again and steal their success. Weak leaders make weak decisions. If you show mercy where none is due, you invite destruction upon yourself. The moment you engage in battle, whether in war, business, or politics, you must ensure that your victory is final. Final thought: a destroyed enemy cannot strike back. The world is not kind to those who hesitate. Power belongs to those who understand that survival demands strength, strategy, and absolute victory. If you must fight, fight to the end. If you must crush an enemy, crush them completely. Only then can you rule without fear of revenge. Thank you for watching Education Hub. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more educational content. Stay curious, keep learning, and we'll see you in the next video.